So, ladies and gentlemen, this house would impoverish the characters. First of all, let's talk about what the impoverish itself means. The impoverish itself means that we want to make them, in this case a character, to become just an ordinary person because a sinful act that they have been done, which is the corruption itself. The impoverish, the corruption is something that we are urgently to do, ladies and gentlemen. Corruption, the corruptor, is not just only a bad person who stole our country's money, but they also make everything in loss, especially to the people itself. The people suffer most. Could you ever imagine that? How hard the people work and they pay the taxes to the government, but with that heartless things that the corruptors did, they took all the people's money for their own purpose to make themselves richer in order to enrich themselves. And as the OG says, that we should have to make them regret in order to make them not to repeat the same thing as ever again in the future. But what is more crucial in this case is we need to give them a forever regret, so not just a temporary regret, because if they regret but it's just temporarily, they might do it again in the future, and that's not good for our country as well. So how can we done this action? This action needs to be done, for example, to take all their assets, to take all their money, to take everything that they have. If someone say that, if we take all the money, it will be unfortunate to their families because their family will suffer. Well, why are you blaming their family because they did nothing? The corruptor, when they did that action, does he ever think about anyone else? No, they never think about anyone else. They just want to enrich themselves. And why should we pity them for that action? This is why I say that we need to give them some extra punishment, because we know, ladies and gentlemen, this day, the corruption, this is literally a sad reality that I know, I have ever watched, that the jail or the jail for the corruptor itself is, that is so luxurious compared to the other jail in that place. So instead of living in a jail, it's more likely that they live in the apartment, and it's so sad to know that thing. Ladies and gentlemen, furthermore, what we need to do is to excel them. This is literally something that the government needs to do, not just impoverish them, but excel them is what we need to do. Why it's necessary for us to do so? Excel them would make them think that the people suffer so much because of their action, and they need to repay it to the people who, they are suffering because of their action. So the corruptor should repay it to the people by serving them. This is why I think we need to excel them. And if we excel them, it will teach them, the characters, what is the purpose of life itself. Ladies and gentlemen, as what has been said by the leader of opposition, that they told about the rehabilitation. Rehabilitation in this case is not a good choice to do. It's not a right thing to do, because rehabilitation will not make them a full regret, because it doesn't give them a consequence that they deserve to get. The rehabilitation is just rehabilitation. The rehabilitation doesn't work in this case. This person is stolen a huge amount of money from the government, and we just give them a rehabilitation as an effect of their action. So it would not fair. Besides, it would not fair, and the rehabilitation itself, it doesn't work for this case. And let's talk about the social justice. The social justice is, is a right for everyone. It's a right that is owned by everyone. And the corruptor who stole the people's money is literally go against the social justice itself. So From this we can clearly know that the character is not just they are not just corrupting, but what they did is also go against the social rights itself. The money that the people pays to the government, where it should be spent for the purpose, for the good, for the goodness of the people itself, for a good purpose, they took it all for their own purpose, to make the character richer. So I think this is why the improperties of the character is something that we really need to do. Improperties, ladies and gentlemen, will make them realize that this life is not just about theirs, but they need to think about others as well. They need to think about how much others suffer because of their action, and if we did this improperties to the character, we hope what is being our goal is we hope that they would not make it, they would not do it in the future ever again. So I think this is why I support this motion, that we really need to impoverish the characters in order to make them regret of what they do, and in order to make them to not repeat the same thing as ever again in the future. Thank you.